Hey guys, this is Devansham and you're watching EcoBiz Academy. Enterprise and business activity. What is business activity? Business activity is all about using the resources to satisfy the needs of the customers by producing goods and services. The goal of business activity is to create value by increasing the added value onto the original cost of manufacturing the goods and services. And that added value, once we sell it, will be called profit. With our business, we would only be able to rely on what we could grow ourselves. So, yeah. And then there's some key terms which we must understand when covering business studies. There's consumer goods, consumer services, capital goods, factors of production, which I covered in a different episode. Then there's creating value and adding value. So consumer goods are all those physical goods which we can touch with our hands. An example is maybe food, clothes, and cars, for example. And then there's consumer services, which are those intangible services which we cannot touch with our hands. Maybe baking, insurance, hotels. They all provide services which satisfy the wants of the population, but you cannot touch them. And then there's factors of production. Labor, land, capital, and enterprise. So land is the natural resources which is used to produce goods and services. And then there's labor, which is basically the workforce or the workers that are involved in the factors of production. And then there's capital, which is not only the money, but it's the money and the man-made resources which are involved in the production. Then there's enterprise. Now enterprise are really important in production, and they are the risk takers who organize the rest. And then now there's adding value and creating value. So creating value is basically selling for more than the cost of input. So if we input maybe goods worth of 10,000, then we will output 15,000. So the created value will be 5,000, the difference of the inputs and the output. And then there's added value, which is basically the difference between the selling price and the cost of the original materials. Which when we sell added value, we get profit. So if the cost of manufacturing maybe 5 t-shirts is 10,000, and then the selling price of those 10,000 valued t-shirts is 20,000, the added value will be 10,000. Now that added value will be the profit after it's sold. So why business matters? So business, of course, it's the place where we produce goods and services that raise the living standards. So why it matters? 1, it produces goods and services which raise the living standards. 2, it creates jobs, wealth, and income. So basically, there's more job opportunities here. And also it drives economic growth. And lastly, it responds to the changing customer needs. So now there's the economic problem. So the economic problem exists when resources are scarce and the wants of the population are unlimited. So now, since we have scarce resources and unlimited wants, to satisfy those, we have unlimited wants but limited resources to satisfy those wants. We have to make some choices, which is called the opportunity cost. So opportunity cost in definition is the next best alternative which is given up when choosing another item. So moving on to entrepreneur. So an entrepreneur is a person who takes the risks of starting and managing a new business. Now there are some several characteristics that every successful entrepreneur must have. there are 6 characteristics. There's innovation, there is commitment and self-motivation, multi-skilled, they have to be a good leader, they have to have confidence and resilience, and they have to be a risk taker. These are very important for a successful entrepreneur. So now there are some challenges that every successful entrepreneur faces. There are 8 challenges. First, finding finance, for example, maybe bank, savings, investors. And then there's now choice of location of the business, cost vs customers. And then there's competition for established firms. And there's building a customer base. Then there's poor record keeping, lack of cash and working capital to start the business. And then there's weak management skills. And there's this constantly changing business environment. So maybe the laws, the economy, they're constantly changing. And then now there's the importance of enterprise to the economy. So enterprise is very important to the economy. Firstly, because it causes some employment creation, so it increases the jobs that can be found. And then there's economic growth, so the GDP rises. And GDP, of course, is the way of measuring economic growth. And then there's firm survival and growth, so there's replacement of the old ideas. And then there's innovation technology. So as technology advances, then now there's better production of goods and services. And also there's exports, which is basically moving the goods out of the economy. And then there's personal development, which involves skills and self-achievement. And there's social costing, which is basically reducing the unemployment issue. Then now there's something called social enterprise. So it's important to note that every business that exists has an aim for generating profit. So an aim of social business would be they aim for profit, they aim for social goods, and they aim for environmental goals. So this basically means that they want to generate profit while satisfying the wants of the population, while not harming the environment. And then now there's some businesses, which is non-profit organizations, which don't have an aim really for making money. Examples are maybe SELCO in India, which basically produces solar energy for poor households. And then there's KASHF Foundation in Pakistan, which is basically microfinance for women entrepreneurs. So thank you for watching, and hopefully you have understood all about business activity and enterprise. I know this was a pretty long video, but we tried to make it the simplest for you to understand. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share with your friends and family.